Yay.
Ani nikna lenishmati venishmati pona elecha. I surrender to my neshama, and my neshama, she communes with you. Lebi ohev et nishmati venishmati ohev et orcha. My heart is in love with my neshama, and my neshama, she's in love with you. Welcome. And now I'd like to invite all of you to close your eyes and have me take you on a simple, sweet journey. And so get comfortable. Take some natural deep breaths and connect with the earth, with your hips and torso. Notice your breath. And just notice where you are emotionally, what your thoughts are doing. And take yourself to a special spot for you in nature. And feel the earth below you, and notice the trees and the plants and the animals. Perhaps you can hear birds singing. Feel the air against your skin. And imagine in the short distance you see a fountain. And you start walking towards this fountain. And as you're getting closer, you can see there's someone standing there. And as you're approaching, you're aware that this is you. The you are becoming, your future self. And as you reach the fountain, this presence, this being, maybe it's just an energy, but it's reaching out and asking for you to hand your heart so he or she can cleanse your heart. And just allow this to happen for another few moments. And in your own timing, receive your heart back, refreshed, cleansed, rejuvenated. Show a gesture of appreciation. And walk back to your special spot. Taking a few more breaths here. And then coming back into the room, clearly deeply in your body. Coming back, connecting with me, connecting with everyone else that's joined here tonight. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Welcome. Thank you for being here with me on my 53rd birthday. It's poignant why I'm having a birthday celebration on my 53rd. And it's because my father died when he was 52. I was 14 years old. And we shared a love of performing and entertaining. And he died too soon before he had the opportunity to really live that passion of his. And so that's when 3 weeks ago when this whole idea emerged at once of sharing some practices and sharing stories and songs and doing it on my birthday, and it all merged in like one moment, and I was like, whoa. And on my birthday's coming up, it was like I had, you know, those moments like you know when you have to do something, and there was a fear like, no, I'm just going to go back in my shell where I like to be a recluse, you know, and I knew I couldn't do that. Like there's too much happening in the second half of my life. I feel like my life is just beginning now. Everything has been preparation till now. And so it was also poignant that my father passed just as at an age where I'm just getting going. And so I had to do it today, now. So a couple of logistics. You found the food, the bathroom's over there. So I'm going to share some stories, some more songs with you, and we'll just roll. Okay? We met at Boom. One night I was driving up to the Star House to listen to a Buddhist monk do a meditation and a Q&A. And I like getting to places early, and I drove up, and one other person had pulled into the parking lot, and they had backed into the spot. And so when I drove past, I looked, and when our eyes connected, I heard one drumbeat. Boom! And I have not heard anything like this before or since. I got out of my car and I walked down the hill to the Star House and found a rough-edged crystalline rock to sit on. And a few minutes later, a couple more people came, and he came down and stood in front of the door. And a few people commented and looked at him and said, "Oh, are you the bouncer for this event?" And it was understandable that they said that because he had the stereotypical look, you know, the bald hair, a little bit of a belly. And he said, "Yeah, I'm a bouncer of sorts for this." And that got my attention, and I looked over at him and I saw his baby blues. And I said, "Yeah, but there's something else going on behind those baby blues. There is a gentleness, a kindness." And with that, he walked over and said, "Hi, my name is Brett, and I owe you a song." Oh, okay. A week prior to this, I put out to the universe that I wanted to bring more musicians into my life. And here's this man a week later wanting to sing to me. Okay, I accept. So after the evening was over, I'm waiting up at our cars. It's dark, it's 11 o'clock at night, everyone else has left. He comes up, he goes to his car, pulls out a frame drum, which a frame drum is a drum without a body to it. It's just flat. And we sit down on the ground, and he puts this drum between us, full moon behind him, and starts singing. But without words, with sound. Sound that I never heard before. Sound that melted all the stress off of my body. Everything just melted away except what was essentially me. This sound sounded Aboriginal, earthy, Tibetan, Hawaiian. And I sat there, giddy, smiling, ear to ear, just sitting in me. We met at boom. Fast forward 7 years. We're walking down Pearl Street Mall. And this woman, a little older than me, but my height and my size, is walking in front of us. And I'm looking at her. Does my ass look like that? Brett, does my ass look like that? Oh, you know, it's hard to compare. Everyone has their unique shape and form. Yes, I know that, but generally, does my ass look like that? Well, you know, your curves are in different places, you know, your torsos aren't the same height. Yes, I know, but I don't walk behind my ass. I don't know what my ass looks like. So could you please tell me? It's like, it's a yes or no answer. Just, does my ass look like that? Yes. We walk into the restaurant. The hostess seats us. The waiter comes over. And it seems like he's telling us about 20 specials that night. And all I want to do is order my hamburger and have him get out of my space because he's getting on my nerves. Then I notice the two people sitting next to us, they're irritating me. They're like under my skin all of a sudden. And Brett's asking me questions. How was your day? How did that meeting go? How was your conversation with so-and-so? And I'm like, oh my God, I don't feel like talking. Like, why are you asking me all these questions? And I was like, oh my God, what happened to the good mood I was just in? I was so looking forward to dinner and going to the show. And all of a sudden, the air was irritating me. And so I thought for a moment, like, what just happened? Okay, I know, he gave me the yes outside. And I'm thinking, okay, now, in my former relationship, when the expansion started, my partner used to say to me, oh, honey, you're showing too much. Pull your shirt down. And with Brett, you know, when we'd be sitting or lovemaking, whatever, he'd be like, oh, honey, I love your body, whatever size, shape, or form it is. I love your body. And I realized, okay, two different styles. Neither one of them got me to the gym on a regular basis. And then it happened. And he's like, oh my God, what is she gonna say now? And I'm like, no, I just got something. It was like an enlightening moment. It's like, my ass is not your responsibility. Oh my God. So the next day, I find myself in a dressing room. I was buying new clothes. And there I am, the mirror, and me in my t-shirt and underwear. All right, here's a moment. Girl, you got a fat ass. And with that, I got myself to the gym, and I've been working it ever since. Because I didn't have a relationship with my ass before. I stopped looking at it, I stopped talking to it, I stopped touching it. And now, I look at it, I touch it, I love it, I like it, and it's my responsibility. Woo! Nothing could be finer than to be in Carolina in the morning. Nothing could be sweeter than my sweetie when I greet him in the morning. If I had a lion's lamb for only a day, I'd make a wish, and here's what I'd say. Nothing could be finer than to be in Carolina in the morning. Different verse. Nothing could be finer than his dick in my vagina in the morning. Now we're warmed up.
Where's the rest of that song?
More verses. Next show. So, I was married once. We met in California at a workshop. And I noticed him immediately because he came in late into the room. And he stood about 6'3", and I stand about 5'1". 5'1", we measured. I'm a quarter of an inch taller. We've been through this. And 5'1", us small people are very compact. And he stood 6'3", and he was this ethereal being. I'd never seen anything like this. And he sat down next to me. And when he sat down, we were sitting Indian style on the floor, and our knees touched. And when they touched, there was this oneness that happened that I didn't know about this oneness thing back then. This is 1990. And it's like, whoa, I'm looking, but I can't tell where I'm ending and you beginning. And so we got married 6 months later. And wow, I didn't know what marriage was. Did any of us? Like we even in our ceremony, we committed to our spiritual growth. Did we know what that meant? No, I did not know. I did not know that like the depths of unfelt, unhealed childhood stuff was going to come up and initially get projected on him and then slapped back on my face. Right? So I called this first marriage anger. It was anger therapy, actually. That's what I affectionately called it. Because we would go at it fiercely, and then we would just release it, and then go, you want to go out for dinner? Yeah, okay. And we would just lightly go to dinner, just dispersing a lot.
There's a spot up here, just in the square, or down here in the front.
So the first year was really fascinating to me. Because there's these two childhoods, these two lives, these two upbringings that are coming and merging together into one life together, seemingly. And I remember the first year, he constantly accused me of interrupting him. And I didn't know what he was talking about. We're having conversations. I don't understand why you're saying I'm interrupting you. I'm not interrupting you. I said, you know what, because I got sick of hearing it. I'm like, you know what, the next time, call me on it right there in the moment. That's the only way I'm going to be able to see it. So he does. And I'm like, what do you mean? You stopped talking. It was my time to talk. He's like, I was taking a breath. I was pausing. And I'm like, oh, I don't understand that in a conversation, because you have to understand, I grew up in a New York Jewish family. Okay? And the first time he came and visited with my family, there were about 15 of us in my aunt's living room. Now, if there's 15 New York Jews in a room, there's a minimum 2 conversations going on, and probable 3. Okay? So that's like 2 to 6 people are talking at the same time. So we're sitting there, and I'm just jumping into conversations and throwing my thought here and my opinion there and what I think of that over there. And the point is, in these kind of conversations, you don't care if you're heard or acknowledged. You don't care if someone's having a dialogue back with you. The point is, you're throwing your thoughts out there into the field, into the conversation. And I'm going at it, and I'm like, wow, yeah, I feel so alive. I haven't done this in a while, and all this. After 15 minutes, I was like, oh, wait a minute. I came here with my husband. Where's Daniel? And I turned, I'm like, oh, he's sitting on the couch right next to me. like this, pale as a ghost. See, he was raised in the South. They do things differently there. So contrast that to the first time I was with his family. There was about 10 of us around the kitchen table. One person's speaking, he completes. So I look around to see, okay, who's going to go next? Because evidently they do this one at a time. And it certainly wasn't going to be. I was not jumping in. I was still testing out the territory here, right? Doing my research around this. No one's speaking. And then, all of a sudden, the same person continues to talk. Like, what? They allowed, like, it seemed like 5 minutes. It was probably 30 seconds, but that was a long time for a New York Jewish girl. So I recognized, okay, maybe it would be more polite and appropriate to slow down in conversation. And so I actually started asking him in conversation, are you done? Or are you just breathing? And this relationship served me quite a bit. It still continues to serve me, the things I learned in it. And at about, almost at the 12-year mark, we decided we were going to shift our relationship and split up. And I remember I came down the stairs one morning. He was still living in the house before he moved out. And I came down the stairs, and he was already sitting in the living room. And I sat in the nice, I called it the big mama chair. And I said, you know what? I am pissed. I have been here for almost 12 years, nurturing and being patient and understanding and nurturing your writing career so you could be this prolific writer one day. But now that's not going to happen. That hasn't happened yet, and we're splitting up. And it's not going to be me that's going to be on your arm. It's going to be somebody else. But I was the one here in the blood, sweat, and tear years, and I am pissed. And he looked at me, and he said, I understand. And you will always be with me. In one way or another, you will always be with me. And with that, the anger and the resentment that already started building just melted away. And we left crying in each other's arms, and he drove off, and I went upstairs to take a bath. And I was very ritualistic about my bath in those days. So I had the candles burning, and I dropped my jasmine oil in the bath, the temperature which was just perfect, not scalding hot, but that deep warmth where as soon as you get in it, it just nurtures you to your bone. And I'm soaking in the bath, and I'm starting to feel and cry the heartache and the pain of letting go of this relationship and letting go of these dreams that we had, and feeling the pain and the contraction in my heart. And then I recognized, but I had the opportunity to love this man, and this man loved me. And then I felt the pain in my heart contracting, and then I felt the joy and the love. But then I felt the pain in my heart, and it felt like my heart was just going to crack into the bath water. And then I felt the joy and the love and the expansion again. And my brain said, could you choose one, please? And it couldn't. It wouldn't. And what happened next, I couldn't have done on my own. What happened next was I got bigger than both. And so I was able to be there with the pain and the joy and the love. And that has changed everything. This the little girl I carry. Is this the little boy I play? I don't remember growing older. When did they? When did she grow to be a beauty? When did he grow grow to be so tall. It seems like yesterday when they were small. Sunrise, sunset, sunrise, sunset, swiftly flow the years, one season following another, laden with happiness, laden with happiness and tears. So, the relationship with my mother has been a hot and cold one. And last winter I spent about 5 months there, and we weren't connecting at all. We weren't having any juicy, good conversations the way we have had or have been able to. And that was sad, and it wasn't until I came back here that I really allowed myself to feel that sadness and to allow that to drip down in me. And it found some crevices of some old childhood pain. And I was sharing this in a women's circle that I was in the summer. And one of the women suggested, would you like one of us to role play and be your mother? Okay, I'd never done that kind of role playing before. I was like, yeah, sure, let's see what comes up. And this very brave young woman agreed to play the role of my mother. And I was just looking at her and just awaiting to see what would come. I want you to see me. I'm here. I want you to see me. I'm 4. See me. And these deep, delicious tears just were like coming up from the depths of me. Just and bellowing out. I'm 5. See me. And the tears kept coming. 6. More tears. 7. See me. 8. 9. Changing a little bit. I'm 10. And my family is separating and I don't know what's going on. 11, I feel so confused. Where are you? 12, I'm starting to menstruate. What the hell is happening to my body and you're not here? I don't know what is going on. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. In my 20s it changed, it shifted, and it was fascinating. In my 20s I felt it was more up here, because I was at that time thinking, well, maybe I'll get married. So I got curious about what her relationship was like with my dad, to learn something there. And we used to get together for lunch once a month, and I always enjoyed that and looked forward to that. Went through my 30s all the way to 52. I woke up the following morning, and I felt a peace that I don't think I have ever felt in my life. And then this last winter, I went back for a vacation. And we were having a nice conversation on the couch, and I was sharing with her the coaching work that I do with women, helping them get embodied and own who they are with their communication and their emotions and their sexuality. And she knew I was in the vagina monologues, and I did my monologue for her a few times. And she looked at me and she said something. Now I don't remember what she said. What I do remember is the impact and the response that I had, which was looking right at her about 3 feet away. Wow. Thank you for seeing me. And she looked back at me. You're welcome. And so this dynamic that was once hot and cold has now transformed into this warm, deep, loving connection. And now when we speak on the phone, it's as if we're resting on each other's hearts. And for this next song, I would invite you to close your eyes. And I feel like in this song it's with words, but there's this beautiful message below the words. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are born and reborn again. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Just call that good, but it wouldn't be the whole story. 2 years ago, a day after my 51st birthday, I woke up and knew I had to have the talk. I wanted to move out of my house. I needed to end a professional long-term contract. And I wanted to change my name. All of it. And I wasn't overwhelmed or surprised by any of this, because all of it had been brewing back there, but none of it was on yes. This morning, it was all yes. Wow, that's a lot. I'm still looking up at my ceiling, noticing the cobweb between the fixture and the ceiling. And I asked, well, where do I begin? And I heard, start with Brett. That made sense. So within the hour, I'm having the conversation, which went very harmoniously, and we had a lot of emotional intimacy and healing before he moved out. And within 2 months, he moved out, the professional relationship was over, and I knew my new name. I found my new name using Kabbalah numerology with my birth date, which has a vibration to it, and you match other names to that so that your destiny just opens up with more ease and grace. So I found myself, after I rearranged the furniture and hung new artwork, of course, which every good woman would do, I'm sitting on my couch in my living room, looking out on my mountain views, and I felt new. Not raw from the first big breakup. This one was very, very different. I just felt new, I felt fresh. And I recognized that this matrix, this like energetic matrix that was all here, was just gone. And then I looked back and recognized and realized that that morning that I woke up in a new vibration. Just a new vibration. It wasn't like I was kicking my past to the door, absolutely not. Or, I'm done, I'm just shutting that off. It wasn't that at all. It was actually, I was just complete. And so other things that matched that same vibration just had to go. And that's why within 2 months, everything just moved very easily and gracefully. And I thought, well, I sat there for 2 weeks, and this freshness and this newness, this new vibration, it felt like a drug, really. It was the best drug I had ever taken. And after 2 weeks, I thought, okay, like new life, new creativity, new projects, let's see, and nothing was happening. There was no flow, there was no synchronicity, nothing. Huh, now that's surprising. Okay, I did the deed, I cried, I did whatever for 2 weeks. Come on, let's go. Life, let's do it. Nothing was happening. And I was meditating one morning, and I heard, go to Florida. Well, that's what I did. I laughed. What? No. Well, for the next 2 hours, I kept hearing, go to Florida. And usually the voice doesn't stick around that long. Usually the voice says something once, that's it. This was like 2 hours. And I was sharing this with a friend going, wow, I've been getting guided to go to Florida, but I can't quite figure out why. I'm like, well, okay, I've had 2 very long-term relationships here. Yeah, a lot has happened for me here. And with that, tears. And my tears, I love my tears. My tears tell me what hasn't been healed, and it tells me what is beauty and what is love for me. And so I was like, oh, all right, maybe I need a change. So that's when I went to Florida and spent 5 months back there, which was rejuvenating in many ways, sitting at the ocean, floating in the ocean, being around family. So it was rejuvenating, excruciating, and really it was just rich and delicious. And it's been fascinating these 2 years since that morning of continuing to experience the old vibration just continuing just to melt off, and this new vibration filling in and arriving. And so, my beloved friends, I am here before you, receiving you and loving you as Ashleigh T. Sinclair. I did that one without the tears. Yay! So, I'm good now. Thank you so much. We're going to put on some music and dance and just stick around and talk and get in front of the camera here and give me whatever you want to give me, so I have it.
I was in Ashland on the last day.
Hello, Ashleigh. In some form or another, you can't hear me now? I have to step closer. Okay, can we hear me now? All right. I'll always be your bouncer. I'll always be your Barry White. And I'm here for you no matter what. Love you. Happy birthday. Looking forward to many more birthdays.